today I wanted to talk about manifesting money and what you can do, what you need to focus on in order to increase your cash flow.
You are beautiful, you are glorious, you are a goddess, and success always starts by saying yes to you.
Here's what happened. Last night I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning, and apparently my guides had crazy downloads for me. And and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I don't even know how I'm awake right now, but hey, that's okay. It's all good. I'm here. What was really fascinating was last night I was watching an episode of Shark Tank, and I'm obsessed with Shark Tank because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love working for myself, and I really, really love like being able to learn from all the people who go into the tank and listening to all the sharks and really just kind of like getting a lot of that business advice so I can apply it to my own businesses. This one guy goes on and he's like, they're like, okay, well, how much did you do in sales, right? And he's like, oh, I made like, I want to say it was something like $500,000 in sales, right? And you're like, wow, that's really impressive. Because everyone's like, oh, I did this many in sales. So here's what was crazy. He was like, okay, I made $500,000 in sales. And you're like, wow, he really's got a good business. And then he was like, okay, well, what profit did you make out of that 500,000? And he was like, 50,000. What? That's not a lot of money if you think about it, right? If you made $500,000 and then all you could take away was $50,000, like that's really not that much in comparison to how much you spent on everything else. And so Mark Cuban's like, that is where you have a problem. And he was like, you are so focused on the top line because they're like, oh, and then I have this product, and then I could do this product, and then this is how I could make more money, and then I could expand in this market, and then this market. And he was like, no, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You shouldn't be focusing on your top line. You should be focusing on your bottom line. I actually created slides, I don't know, to try and keep myself on track. But I thought that this was a really, really, really good example and lesson to learn about, to take into my life and my business that I wanted to share with you. You know, if you're the kind of person who wants to be in business for yourself, and whether you are an actress or whether you are reselling or whether you are, doing real estate, just whatever, you're trying to build your own business, it's so important to get into the mindset of what is an entrepreneur mindset and like, what is your mindset around money? What are you focusing on, right? And so I was just like, you know what? Like, yeah, you see all these YouTubers, they're like, here's how to make $5,000 in a month or $10,000 in a month, or this is how I made $50,000 in a month. And it's kind of like, well, that's all fine and good and all, but how much are you actually taking home at the end of the day? What is your net profit? What is your bottom line? And let's chase that number, because that's the money that's going to go into the bank. That's the money that's going to pay my bills. That's the money that's going to buy my groceries. And I care way more about that number than I do about how much gross profit, like, woo, like how much I made, They never tell you the backstory, right? How to find your bottom line. You find your bottom line by taking your gross profit, you minus your fees, you minus your cost of goods, and that's your net profit. COG is cost of goods, right? So like, for example, if with Poshmark, it's pretty easy, right? So if I sold something for $100, that's my gross profit, but Poshmark takes 20%. So 20% of 100 is $20. And then minus the cost of goods, how much I paid for the item, that includes tax, guys. So let's just say I sold a pair of Prada shoes, because this is just something that I remember, and I paid $15 for the shoes. Then I have to minus that. So that's 100 minus 20, which is 80, minus 15. So that's 65, right? So I'm taking home 65 at the end of the day. But get this, right? If you're going into business for yourself, you also technically, if you're really wanting to know your real bottom line, it's minus the labor. So it's like, how much gas did it take me to like drive to that Goodwill? How much minus the taxes that are going to be taken out at the end of the year, minus the overhead. So like, let's say, like for example, for my Poshmark business, that's also like my house, right? Because that's where I'm storing my inventory. And what about the gas and like mileage and, you know, wear and tear on the car and stuff, right? Those numbers you obviously need to keep in the back pocket, but all of that minus, basically then that $65, let's just basically cut it in half. So then my true bottom line would probably be around $35, right? And you're like, $35 is really not that much. But I would then work on increasing that number and focusing on how to increase the amount of that gap, right? So here's my quote. My quote is, here's the thing, which I don't know if you can see that. I don't know. Can you move this? Okay. Anyway, apparently one of my friends told me that I say that all the time. Like, here's the thing. So I tell you, here's the thing. $50 in my pocket is better than the $500 that's not. And I keep on saying that to myself. I'm like, you know, sometimes it's really disappointing. You're like, oh, you only made $35 on a $100 sale after everything is said and done. But I'm like, you know what? That's $35 that I didn't have yesterday. And I would much rather have that $35 in my pocket that goes towards food, that goes towards rent, that goes towards my bills, than the $500 sale that I made. But like, who's actually making $500? So here's my example, if you can see it. Oh no, it won't show you the thing because my face is in the way and I can't move my face. Okay, well, I'll fix it and I'll put it in my story. So sorry about that. But basically this was a pair of boots that I sold yesterday. Okay. And it was a great sale for me. So I sold these Anthropologie Chihuahua boots, gold leather boots. They were my size. I was going to keep them, but I decided to sell them. And, I sold them for $59, which is pretty good. Right. But then minus the selling fee. So the selling fee was $5.90 and the processing fee, because now Mercari takes a processing fee because of course every single one is different. Yes, the mindset of abundance will bring more, right? But so then adding those two up, that's what, $7.91, right? So then my fees are $7.91 and the cost of goods, I bought them at a Goodwill bins outlet. So they were only $2. So because of that, I ended up making $49.01. And that was my bottom line, right? Before tax at the end of the year or whatever. So that was a pretty gosh darn good sale for me. Normally I'm like, oh my God, I made $59. I'm getting $59. And it's like, I'm not getting $59. And it's so important to know and keep track of all of these numbers on a spreadsheet. I used to hate spreadsheets. I'm not a spreadsheet girl. I am still a total Gemini, and I just kind of want to like throw things around. But when I started getting serious about my money, and when I mean serious, I mean like actually loving my money, taking care of my money, knowing where my money goes at the end of the day, I ended up creating my own spreadsheet. So this is my own spreadsheet that I have just as an example. And this was for like my Posh sales for October for last month. And what I personally like to do is I like to have the date, and then I like to have the category of items so I know what types of items I sell, and then like the item, like the description of it. And then I have, as you can see, the gross profit, then the purchase price, my cost of goods, then the platform fees, wherever I listed it, because clearly I list them in multiple places. And then that is then, so the purchase price minus profit, gross profit minus cost of goods minus platform fees equals my net profit that I get to take home at the end of the day. And then I mark out just where I sold the item, just so that I can personally keep track of like, hey, I'm selling a lot more stuff on eBay right now. What is that? And I can continue to create the successful actions. So my suggestion is to always keep track of your gross profit, the processing fees for whatever it is, your cost of goods, and then that will become your net profit. You are so capable and worthy and oh so deserving of receiving all the money that you want and more. And I just really wanted to drive that home with everyone today, because really taking in this whole idea of like focusing on the top line versus focusing on the bottom line, it's so important to know where your focus is, because you're going to attract what you focus your attention on. So you might as well focus your attention on what you do want versus what you don't want, if that makes any sense. So if I'm focusing on, okay, cool, yes, thank you, I got that $35. Thank you, I got that $59. Thank you, I even got the $5. $5 is better than no dollars in my book. And again, if it's your net profit, your bottom line, I just work on increasing it. And that's one of my goals, is every month I steadily increase my bottom line so that I can continue to bring in more cash and more cash and more cash and more cash. And we love the cash. I wanted to impart that on you as something that you could think about for this week, as far as just like maybe whether you actually bring out a Google spreadsheet or whether you just like get a notebook and start writing it down. I find it's really, really motivating to look at your spreadsheet and being like, oh my God, look, that I made that sale, I made that sale, I made that sale, I made that sale, I made that sale. And then I actually start to know, because sometimes you think like, oh, this is really cool, like, you know, but and then you end up paying $6 for it, but then the resale value isn't that high. And then all of a sudden you're stuck with like maybe a $2 profit, and that just doesn't feel very good. Always a trade-off for everything. And again, one of the things that you have to consider is labor, right? And your time. Your time is something that you can't get back. When you think about your bottom line, how much of your time and effort and energy is worth it for a net sale of $10 or $5 or $3, right? And so it's really super important to ask yourself. Now, there's so many different methods on how to actually focus on your bottom line. One of the things that I love about Kat's strategy is the fact that like it's fit quick and it is fast and you can get your money back, and like who doesn't want to get their money back into their pocket, right? And then anything else is profit. And then for me, I like making these big sales. Like I like making sales. So my average sale price is a bit higher than most. I think mine's about around like $40, $45 a sale. But then again, like, you know, there's neither one is wrong. It's just what works best for you and what makes you feel rich, what makes you feel abundant, and what's the easiest way for you to get that money into your pocket at the end of the day, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you as far as like mindset and about money and about how to really, where to actually focus your attention on in order to increase that cash flow. When I was adopting a little bit more of Kat's mentality of just like, listen, I'm just all about these fast flips and let's just turn this stuff as fast as possible, I really did start making sales as fast as possible. My average sale price did go down a little bit, but I started to flip more stuff faster, which then ended up allowing my bottom line to then increase. So I'm like, great, right? Like at the end of the day, it's just money in my pocket. And otherwise, like I'm not in the storage business of just storing a whole bunch of pretty clothes. I'm in the business of selling clothes, right? So I need to sell as much as possible because I don't want it just sitting in my house, because otherwise, like, what's the point, right? So that's kind of like my little take and my little win that I had on money mindset, and just really being able to focus on like, okay, cool. Like I made this sale, I made this sale, I made this sale, and sales get sales, get sales, get sales. So for example, today I was on a call with a coaching client, and while I was on the call and I was just really focused and being in the present moment, I made not one, but 2 sales. And so it was really great because I was making money by making the coaching call. And then I was able to then also like make this sale, and then another one was an offer, and I just like took the freaking offer because again, it's just all about a sale is a sale is a sale is a sale, right? And there is this tendency to like latch on because we're like, oh, but I feel like I could get more. And like technically you probably could get more because eventually there's going to be somebody that's going to want to pay for it. But if you're just wanting money now, and hello, it's like the end of the year, holidays are coming up, like there's just, you know what I mean? There's money that needs to be had, and and we still got to pay our bills and there's still a pandemic going on and all this stuff, it's like, look, would you rather take the $15 or would you rather have $0? I would always rather have $15 over $0 any day of the week. And that's kind of when I shifted my mindset to abundance. And I'm like, I'll just take the money any way that the universe can give it to me. And that's fine. And then last bonus tip, one of my favorite affirmations that I just keep pounding into my head that has been helping me a lot with my money mindset and increasing my finances despite the pandemic and everything is money flows into my bank account whether I work for it or not. I just really like that idea. I like the idea of just, knowing that the money is going to flood into my life whether I'm working on it or not. Because let's be honest, right? Even though we're America and we're a capitalist society and we're all about working, there's times when like I can't work like 12 hours a day. I need to have a personal day. Maybe I'm having a breakdown, I'm having anxiety or a depression or, trying to figure out like my life. And maybe I actually need to sleep and take care of myself. And I don't know, like maybe sort of somehow socialize on like a Zoom chat or something, right? So we want to have a well-balanced life. That's the whole point of financial freedom. And I like to imagine that I'm making money whether I work that day or not, or whether I'm able to make money while I sleep. Like that's always my funnest thing to do. So a lot of the times what I'll try to do, because I love waking up and seeing like, you've made a sale, congratulations, you've made a sale, is I go to, like right before I go to bed, I will get onto my Poshmark and I'll make a ton of offers and then I'll go to bed. And then so I'm setting myself up for success. But then more often than not, I'll wake up and I'll have several sales and then I'll feel abundant and I'll feel like secure and I'll feel just like, fully taken care of, and I'll feel like the universe has my back. And it's just a nice way to start my day, knowing that money is going into my bank account. Like that just makes me feel just really secure. You know what I mean? And then I hustle for the rest of the day and do all the other things that I usually do, et cetera, et cetera. But I just really hope that might be helpful. And if you want to steal those affirmations, then definitely steal them. That's just my mindset. That just makes me feel really great. And as long as it makes you feel really great, then definitely use that too. So if you have any questions, definitely drop them into the comments. I hope that this is helpful. I'd love to share more stuff like this because I think it's just really valuable, especially like with everything that's going on. It's like, I just personally like to have my fate in my own hands. And there's so many things that are out of our control. And I feel like one of the few things I do have in my control is like, how often I list things and like when I share things and when I hop on live on social media and when I'm able to take care of myself. And so the things that I am in charge of and am in control of, I try to do my best to do the things that are the most aligned with my goals and make me the happiest overall. And that ends up, when I end up honoring myself and my heart and like knowing when I need to take a break, because sometimes I won't post on social media because I'm like, I just can't, then it's okay. And it's okay to take a break, and it's okay to take care of yourself, and it's okay to have a day where it's just not a good day. But today was definitely a throw the lipstick on and handle it day. So that is what I'm doing. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this video and for joining me. I love you all so much, and I just want you all to remember that you are so smart, and you are so brave, and you are so powerful, and you are so worthy and deserving of getting everything that you want and more, including all of the money and all of the love and all of the magic in the world. And of course, success always starts by saying yes to you. Have a wonderful, magical rest of your Monday. Mwah.